right. I believe we are live. Thank you, Vibes Radio. I love your 80 cent. All right, we are live on YouTube. And yep, live on YouTube. Checking on Twitch. Live on Kick. And let me do a quick refresh. Yep, and live on Twitch. I wonder why. Let me see. Let me see what's going on here. What is up? What is up? Okay. YouTube's live. Twitch does not seem to be live. Let me see. Let me look at my shit. What's going on? Turn Twitch off. Turn it back on. Well, I wonder. Seems to be. Oh wait, there it goes. Huh. Must have been me. Alright, well, let me go back to my dashboard. Live now? Okay. Well, you know what it is? I think. Okay. Let me turn this music down a little bit. I think my wife is on a work thing. So, anyway, I'll just do my thing, and it is what it is. Internet is shit. You probably want to watch the playback if you're going to watch. Thank you for following FHVTRFGGGN. Favorite fag. I find that amusing. I don't know what it means, but I find it amusing. 4 viewers on Twitch. What's up? What's up, everybody? Time to write a book. Okay. As usual, I will not be talking in the chat. I won't be really looking at it at all. I'm going to close those windows in a second because it is very difficult for me to write a book and talk about things in the chat and look over there. It's very distracting. So, with that being said, I'll do a quick, hey, this is what we're doing, and get started. I'm going to close the Kick stream and the Twitch stream and the YouTube stream now, so it'll save on bandwidth. Anyway, at the end of the stream, I will go into Twitch, Kick, and YouTube and see if there's any questions, and also welcome anybody who's following. So now, let me close those out. Goodbye, Kick. Goodbye, Twitch stream. And goodbye me on YouTube. Alright, so welcome to today's stream. We are writing a book. Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef, Book 3. It is Thursday. Awesome. Every Friday, tomorrow, I do a recap of Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef 1 and 2. And so far, what has happened here in Book 3. The stream is... What's it for? I'm a writer. I'm an author. I'm a best-selling Amazon author. You may have read some of my works, such as I Am Gamer, Warrior Academy, From Chef to Crafter to Conqueror, and some of my lesser-known works like Earth Online, Tragic Kingdom, White Soul. But I'm currently doing this series, Mercenary Reincarnated as a Chef, and it's a 3-book series for a company called Aethon Books. And I am on the last book, Mercenary Reincarnated as a Chef, Book 3. We are at 93,176 words. All my books now are 100,000 words. That gives me a goal for a book. So 100,000 words is 100%. Every 1,000 words is 1%. So I know exactly how far along I am every day that I'm writing. So currently, right now, if you could see my finger, it's not there, but on the screen, we are at 93,176. So we are 93.176% done. Today's goal is 2,500 words. So that will put us at 95,677. And by the end of the day, we will have less than 5,000 words to go to finish this book. Usually, I try to do 500 words every half hour. That's 1,000 words an hour. And if I'm doing 2,500 words a day, that's 2.5 hours. It's a hard pace to keep up. Maybe I should turn this down. It's a hard pace. It's a hard pace. There we go. It's a hard pace to keep up. It's a hard pace. It's a hard pace. I think that's better. Maybe I get one of those pop filters. So anyway, yeah, 2,500 words, 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours from now, we're looking at 12:45, 12:50. No breaks today, probably just to get coffee, maybe bathroom, and minus whatever time we've spent so far talking, which is 7 minutes. I'll talk for another 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and then I will recap what happened last time on Mercenary Reincarnated as a chef and get going. I'll read the last 4 or 5 paragraphs, move on to the next one, move on to the writing. Every day I give a little bit of a writing tip. I've given a lot so far because this is the 20th multi-stream, but it's my 30th stream, I think. But I didn't start the writing tips till like a week ago, so I guess a good writing tip that I haven't given before. I said exercise, talked about sugar. As a beginning author, I really wanted to be Hunter S. Thompson, Kerouac, London, Hemingway. Get fucked up, drink, booze, lots of booze, pot, whatever, and then write crazy stories. I thought that was how you did it. And for the first ones, it kind of did. I guess it got me started, but it's a lot better when you're there. So I don't know. There's a tip. It's easier to write when you're all there. It's easier to write. I'm not going to say sober because I have caffeine and all sorts of other things, but it's easier to write. It's easier to create when you're there mentally. There's a good writing tip. Okay. So after this Saturday, I guess, I was thinking of being done tomorrow and doing extra long work today, but I think this book might end up a little bit longer than 100,000 words. We'll see. But we'll see. I see if I can wrap things up in the next 5,000-6,000 words, which might be tough. All right, so August 21st, 2025, Mercenary Reincarnated as a Chef, Book 3. Here we go. Chapter 29. So far, in Mercenary Reincarnated as a Chef, yesterday, Lou had assaulted the manor house on his own, the Cerulean's the mayor of Helter Skelter's residence. And he did like a crashing attack, killed some monsters, got hurt a lot, and is basically commandoing his way through the house to find if there's any survivors, just to see if he can rescue the survivors. And yeah, that is what's going on. So let's do this, huh? Oh, there's my wife. Hold on a second. I'm going to mute the mic. It's not like I'm recording a podcast. Mic is muted. I'll be back in a moment because I'm gonna say goodbye to my wife. She goes to work. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. I haven't even started really the stream, so enjoy the beautiful same motion over and over and over again. Sorry about that. Wife is working from home for a bit this morning and just leaving now. It's 10:24. There's a... How do I say this? There's a funny thing that happens when you work from home. And a lot of people will understand if they work from home, but people tend to expect you to bend your schedule around theirs. Which I guess is as it should be, because you're more flexible. And you do it because you love your spouse or whoever it is. So anyway. All right. Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef, Book 3. just explained what was going on. Lou is commandoing his way through the manor house of Lord Cerulean and killing motherfuckers and getting beat up on the way. So I believe right now he's kind of limping and dragging himself through the hallways of the manor house with one arm, with a gun in one hand and his other useless by his side. Dragging his useless leg by his side. Okay, so let us get on with it. Here we go. Real quick, let me pull up Twitch and see that it's working now, because it wasn't before. All right, good. It's back up. All right, let me double check the kick.
Hey, flip it.
Yep.
Hey, flip it.
All right. Okay. Boom. So, I'm going to get started, but real quick on kick. Mubix, Labelu, and Zimmy Outreach. Thank you guys for following. Now let's get on with it. Lou had been... No. The resulting migraine felt like someone had shoved 6 ice picks into Lou's brain from all different directions. His shriek was not inside his mind. It was very vocal and his shriek was not kept internally. Instead, he was very vocal, letting out his pain for the rest of the world to hear. Lou swam in let his agony, anguish, tortuous. Okay, his shriek was not kept internal. Instead, he was very vocal, letting out his agony for the rest of the world to hear. Lou swam in an eternity. Jesus, that's a fucking tongue twister. Lou swam in an eternity of torturous shit. Torturous. I can't fucking speak. Lou swam That's a hard fucking sentence. Okay. Lou swam in an eternity of torturous anguish. His thoughts were only on one thing: extreme, mind-destroying pain. Nothing he had ever experienced in either life had felt this way. Lou, he had been hurt in so many different and imaginative ways that he thought that Lou considered himself a pain expert. He'd been burned, shot, cut, stabbed, electrocuted, poisoned, blinded, albeit temporarily, concussed, bitten, and that was just in his first 10 years. And that was just during the first 10 years of his career. The absolute anguish, torment he was experiencing now was so bad, it was as if all of the considerable amounts of pain that he'd ever experienced in his entire life, comma, was summoned all together at once into one torrential moment of pure unadulterated pain. The problem with pain and agony is there's only so many ways to describe it, and people don't really, it doesn't hit. It just never hits. It never hits. You could say people don't know what the words mean. You switch out pain, agony, torturous, horrendous. They all synonymous for people, and they don't understand like the gravitas of changing them. So that's kind of crazy. There's a writing tip. That was what he felt. But as that thought came to him, he realized the pain wasn't all-consuming. He could formulate a second thought. He'd just proven it. In fact, Lou was beginning to think it wasn't pain at all. His sight, and he was looking at them like he was seeing them for the first time. Lou hadn't even realized he was under a psychic attack, period. Four illithids stood for half again as tall as a man. Stood 10 feet away, their arms pointed at him and their phallic-like tentacles flailing as they chanted in a blubbering gibberish like language. That's enough of that. Lou roared, accentuating his points with pulls of his triggers. With pulls of his 44 Magnum triggers. The four rubbery purplish heads repeated the same pattern as those before them. Their internal organic head matter decorating Lord Cerulean's manor in a twisted version of modern art. So twisted and gory that even trying to compare the sight to as viscerally horrible a painting like a Jackson Pollock didn't do the Lou's handiwork justice. How's that? How is that for a sentence? Everybody knows that Jackson Pollock was a CIA. It was a CIA thing, right? Like, he was crazy and he bought his shit to funnel money. Crazy. Everybody's like, why is this art? Because it's not. It's garbage. Same thing with Warhol. Lou wanted to sit down. Well, same with most art, actually. 1, 2. Yeah. Lou wanted to sit down and breathe, but he could hear the shouts of the guard Capitan Freya and the other guardsmen and the Countess and remaining survivors supporting them. If he stopped now and they all died, and even one more of them died, and he could have prevented it, he'd never forgive himself. He wiped the sweat from his brow and then stared at his hand. Stared at his liquid-covered palm. Play-em. It was full of blood, and he was certain it was his. He was certain most of it was his. He could feel his body starting to give out. Lou knew his limits. Even with his new, younger body, physique, enhanced physical abilities, and his newfound magical talents, he was in touch with okay, I don't think we need that. Yeah. He'd even died once, so he knew what that experience was like. Which meant Lou also knew to the down to the last breath of air in his body, in his lungs, how much further he could drive his tortured form. No longer were his legs and feet prancing about like showgirls in Vegas. No longer were his arms swinging back and forth like an air traffic controller on the world's best cocaine. No longer was he moving his core up and down, left and right, and in ways that seemingly defied the laws of physics. Now, that being was gone. In its place was Lou, slowly dragging his left leg behind him in small, labored, hopping steps with his right foot Now that being was gone. In its place was Lou, slowly dragging his left leg behind him in small, labored, hopping steps with his right foot, while he used his left arm to pull his unresponsive limb forward. His right hand held the Raging Hunter, but he used it to prop himself up against the wall so he didn't collapse as he shuffled awkwardly onward. All right. Okay, 31 minutes, 55 seconds. That took a while to get going. That was real bad Grammarly setup. Okay, let's get going. 32 minutes, 8 seconds. Let's see if we can knock out 2,500 words. Lou rounded the corner. The last corner of the hallway and pushed the door to the outside, open with a Herculean effort. He sighed. He stifled a sigh, knowing that if it was that hard to open a door, the next few bits were about to extremely suck. And in ways that he was sure would torment him for the rest of whatever remained of his second life. A message pinged in his HUD, and Lou glanced at it, then scoffed and stepped forward. The screams and shouts getting louder by the second. The moment Lou opened the door from the second floor, veranda of the mayor's home, the enormity of the situation was visually laid out for him. Oof, okay. Stretch. Like my samurai cat, my mother-in-law thinks it's funny to get me slightly Asian shit because I'm half Asian, half Korean. I think it's pretty funny. Samurai cat, stupid shit. Over 1,000 enemy monsters, ranging from orcs and ogres to werewolves and vampires, all interspersed with wicked beasts like wyverns, even more powerful and wicked enemies like there were there were trolls, basilisks, nightmares, cockatrices, and those were just the ones Lou could name. The 1,000 monstrosities surrounded a .50 by 50-foot square in the center of the Count's inner courtyard. There was a 6-foot wall that was where there had been a wall of roses and brambles when Lou had lived here. Had been replaced with a 10-foot high and thick stone wall that was replete with defensive positions and murder holes for the Count's guard to mount their defense. From his position on the second floor, Lou could see over the walls and into the center of the defensive square. What he saw did not look good. There were more injured in the middle of the square than manning the walls. Walls. Oh. Thinking. Lou breathed in and out through his nostrils. Well, nostril. His right one, specifically, as the other was clogged with either his, something else's, or his or something else, his or something else's blood, or he hoped. He checked his mana and his health status on his HUD, and it did not look good. While he didn't have specific numbers, an image of his body and appeared for him when he checked and was colored differently depending on his level of damage and damage, mana, and stamina. The reason he was able to check so quickly was that all the colors were the same. Dark red. This universally meant that Lou was fucked. Was screwed. Think. Thinking. Thinking. His inventory was down to 6 regular grenades and 4 of each for smoke and concussion grenades. 4 smoke and 2 concussion. All that was left in his inventory were 6 to correct. Ammo-wise, Lou was down to less than 3 dozen rounds for his raging hunters. If he factored in his available mana and his regeneration rate, he may have 60 rounds total before he was empty of ammo and magic mana. Unless he said with a growing leer, that slowly grew to take up his entire the entire lower half of his face. 60 seconds later, Lou was limping as fast as his slowly healing body would let him, and holding an air horn, a bullhorn in one hand, guiding him haphazardly down the blood-slick stairs, and the other holding a bullhorn. Hey, you ugly sons of bitches, he screamed into the audio. The magnifying with obvious enjoyment. You heard me, you stupid bastards with faces only a retarded mother could love. Lou kept shuffling down step by step screaming the whole way. And after a minute of this, the sounds of battle began to die down, and the monsters and defenders turn to stare at the source of the screaming slurs. Yo, retarded is retarded, motherfuckers. Don't you Grammarly out of that shit. Hey, 500 plus words. You take away that 30 minutes of bullshit, we're at 21:20, so 21 minutes for 500, 600-ish words. Not bad. Demon Rue? Lord Cerulean's familiar voice rang out from their defensive bastion. That's right. It's me, Demon Rue. Here I come to save the day. Lou shouted back into his electric megaphone bullhorn. Run! There is nothing you can do to help us. Lady Cerulean screamed, joining the impromptu shouting match. No can do. I came here to save your lives, and to do that, I have to kill a bunch of garbage ass monsters. Now, get down! Lou roared. As he hit the bottom of the stairs, the bullhorn disappearing in an instant and reappearing, and a giant barrel with TNT. Hold on a second. Let me see. How about... I think we're gonna drop a tactical nuke. Let's see, smallest tactical nuke. Let me see. Oh, the Davy Crockett here. Where is it? Davy Crockett, here it is. 51 pounds. Look at that, it's a tactical nuke. The launch point yields 18 tons. Last Crockett. But how big was the blast? Oh, here we go. Right here. Wait, no, that's them launching it. Fission. Variable explosive of 10 tons. Okay, how big of an explosion is 10 tons of TNT? Oklahoma City bombing. Twice as powerful. Okay. Cool. All right. I got it. Here we go. And a huge... Davy Crockett. The smallest nuclear weapon warhead ever made, appearing in it a moment later. In an instant. The monsters didn't know what Lou held in his arms. They just knew that it was a weapon of some sort, and they knew that they wanted to kill and eat the hell out of this annoying human. They wanted this so bad, that they practically forgot about the Count and his people, and all turned to rush at Lou. Each of them determined to be the monster to get to the tiny the vile little human first. They wanted this so bad that they practically forgot about the Count and his people, and all turned to rush at Lu, fully determined to be the first to kill him. Which was exactly what he wanted. Precisely? Yeah. The Davy Crockett Lu had created with his... that Lu had replicated with his creation magic was exactly like the original, except for half its size. Being half its size. A 10-ton nuclear blast would take out all the monsters, but also the people Lu was there to save. And himself. Defeating the whole purpose of his mad attempt at a rescue. A 5-ton blast was just the right size to take out the enemy and give Lu a chance to survive. Albeit just barely. And if he was super lucky, he meant lottery lightning strike lucky. His chances were still slim to none. The type of lucky that won the lottery and got struck by lightning the same day, and even then his chances were slim to none. Okay. 94-1. Oh shit. Less than 6,000 words to go. Are we done with this book? Oof. An hour and 5 minutes. We are at 1560 to go, so we're almost at 1,000 words, just under. Yeah, and that's in 30 minutes, so that's pretty good. 1,000 words in 30 minutes. Oh. That was okay with Lou. His entire life, both of them, had been he had been given low odds that was okay with Lou. No. Both of his lives had he had been given low odds for both of his lives. And had done pretty damn well. Damn well. He growled out loud, prepping and pointing the huge ground to ground missile. While the monsters continued raging and howling and raging as they rushed toward him. Lou wasn't disturbed, wasn't If Lou was bothered by the monsters closing in by the second, only 20 feet away, he didn't show it and kept going on with prepping the weapon. Even beginning to whistle as he did while he worked. Right when the first of the monsters got within 2 feet of him, he finished. His head and eyes snapped up and locked on to the huge screaming minotaur lunging at him with bloodlust in its eyes and frothy foam streaming across its gore-covered snout. I don't know what they have to snout. Knock, knock. Lou said as normally as he could. Then hit the firing mechanism. Right as he depressed the firing trigger and turned and dove down into a cellar that was right next to the stairwell. The Minotaurs elephantitis like arms hugged the empty air where Lou had just been. The monster stared in disbelief for just a second until the hissing of the giant recently activated missile became a scream. How do you spell elephantitis? Ah, I see. Elephant. T-I-A-S-I-S. There we go. Elephantiasis. Ah, that's how you say it. I thought it was elephantitis. Oh, I get it. So the actual word is elephantiasis. Tiasis is not elephantitis. Interesting. That's funny, I guess. Well over 1,000 words. As the missile launched, shooting into the Minotaur and taking it and the 10 or so monsters behind it with it as it Luke closed his eyes and wrapped himself in his magical trench coat as he hit the hard packed dirt of the cellar, the air whooshing from his lungs and his ribs cracking. During landing. He didn't stop to bask in the pain, but immediately rolled to the side away from the entrance and closing his eyes and covering his ears. Covering his ears and opening his mouth. Time was interminable. Lou wasn't sure if he was counting down correctly or if the world had ceased already and he though nuclear weapon had gone off and he was already dead. He'd used the last of his creation magic and tossed a inflatable barricade out as he fell to cover the cellar entrance. It wouldn't stop the full force of the blast, but it might hold long enough to direct the majority of its force so that it passes the cellar by. Lou grinned to himself, and people always asked why they should know physics in their daily lives. Next time he heard the question, he'd pose them this scenario and see what their answer would be. Okay. Ugh. What are we at? 94, 479. We are almost down to 1,000 words. And we are almost at an hour and a half. So take away half an hour, that's an hour. 1,500 words in an hour. 750 words a half hour. It's pretty solid writing. Man, if I get down to 1,000 words a half hour, how dope would that be? Just as he started chuckling at the ridiculousness of the thoughts of his thoughts, the earth shaked. The earth began explosion the likes like any he had heard before, rocked the cellar and knocking all the sense from Lou as the concussive force of the weapon traversed the world around it in a 360-degree sphere of force. The Minotaur was braying at the top of his bull lungs, as were the monsters behind it and those the missile knocked to the ground, the earth to the ground on its flat, uncaring trajectory, uncaring what or who or what was in its path. The Davy Crockett covered the 25 feet between from its launch spot to the target. The sky right in the center. The center between the manor house and the defensive bastion the Count and his people were. People where the Count and his people were. Full 94, 597. Not bad. Lou had done the mental math, and it was the only place where he could detonate the bomb and get the majority of the monsters while leaving, hopefully sparing the Count and the others. Okay, here we go. The brilliant blinding light that was created by the splitting of the atom, nuclear fission, was such a pure and strong color that was so pure and strong that it lit up the sky for miles and led down into the cellar that Lou was taking cover in. Lord Cerulean and his people had all heeded Lou's warning and quickly took cover in their shelter, but the nuclear explosive blast still hit them as did the blinding light. The defenders were rocked to the core as Lou had been, but they weren't as close as he was, and the majority were kept hold of their consciousness. That was, and were able to experience the full relate what happened to the others after the blast. The monsters were not so lucky. Directly after the burning white light and concussive wave of force came the burning fire of fire that is released from the act of fission. Those monsters that weren't knocked to the ground unconscious by the first by the concussive blast were the most powerful ones. They were also able to retain consciousness, much like the defenders were, but for only a moment, as directly as this was due to the fact that as they experienced the weapon in real time, their flesh, blood, and bone was all destroyed and turned down to the cellular level. $94,825. Let's get to 95. Ooh. Okay. Hit 95, take a few minutes, bathroom, coffee, check the messages, chill out for a minute, and then finish the last. We'll see. Maybe not. Let me just do a little bit more. Mushroom Cloud. While a miniature one was something that hadn't been seen in the world of Seoul, much less the city of Helter Skelter. Lou's friends and companions had finished their assault on Lord rescue attempt of Lord Lady Monica's father's residence, and were halfway to lose were flying to lose assistance, and were already halfway there. When the bomb exploded. Knocking them all from the sky and loop and causing every one of the kiteboard machines to crash land, along with giving all those who were born able to fly reverse vertigo, sending them to the ground with the others. Every single team and each team was and all sent to the earth in a bone-jarring crashes and near-death collisions. It was only because the place had finished annexing so much of the conquered territory, and that it had been able to extend its magical buffs to the area that they all had crashed in. Was still halfway to, which was still over halfway to the mayor's residence. Ragnar wobbled steadily as he stood from his, tried to stand after his crash landing. He eventually made it and looked around, assessing his and the damage. Done to him and the others. He had felt his bones breaking and the internal injuries as he crashed, but could instantly feel them healing. In effect, he'd been missing since they left the magical range of the place. As he scanned the main street around him, he saw that his teammates and other companions were in the same boat. All of them were injured but healing quickly and in better shape than they had been just a minute or two earlier. The rescue attempt at Vermilion Manor had been harrowing and, to say the least, Ragnar wasn't even sure yet, who was dead and who had survived. He knew he'd seen people he'd seen some of the others drop, but wasn't sure of the final outcome. There just hadn't been time to check. The only ones he knew were alive for sure was himself, Diddy, Blanca, Fang, Micah and Mickey, and Lou. But for the others, he hoped for the best. With that crazy smoke cloud and explosion, he was feared the worst. What are you moping around for, bird? Blanca Fang harangued him from his side. Ragnar would have been angry at the alpha direwolf, but grinned instead and motioned toward the cloud. You are right. We must hurry, Demon Rue needs us. $95,197, less than 500 to go. 1 hour, 45 minutes. Take away 30 minutes. 1 hour, 15 minutes. 2,000 words. 37 minutes for 1,000 words. That's pretty darn good. Coffee break time. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm gonna do this last little. Alright, bathroom, coffee break. Let us go. Last sprint, and we done for the day. Last little bit. Let's go. Hour 51:44. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Page 6. All right, let's roll. Let's roll. Yeah. Let's go. Diddy shouted, appearing next to the two of them as his team of warriors, adventurers turned kitchen workers behind him. Was this 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this last page. The rest of the team leaders gathered around them. Mickey and Micah also showing up, coming to stand next to their friends. When all of the teams and their remaining members were gathered, they turned, and the resolve in them was palpable as they turned and moved off as one, heading right toward the mountainous mountain-sized mushroom cloud rising up over the mayor's residence. You better be okay, Lou, Demon Rue. Blanca Fang murmured under her breath, so low that only Ragnar and Diddy, who were right next to her could hear. Bonobo patted the beast girl on the shoulder, while Ragnar did so on the other side. One of the few times that the usually surly alpha direwolf let someone touch her. This being Chapter 30. Blue was back in the void. He'd been there so many times that he now called it by he had named the space the void, and was no longer discombobulated by not having a body or any physical senses. He had decided that this version of himself was the same as his teenage body or his old dead one. It was the insides of those bodies that had contained what he was beginning to think of as his spirit or soul. Over the last few weeks, since his last visit with the goddess Azrael, Lou had gotten more philosophical and had been internally debating many religious and other ideals. One of those being the idea of a soul. He hadn't thought... Oh, hi, Cat. Hold on, buddy.
Hi.
You're back. Say hi, Winston. Almost done. Let's get you some food. He is 20. Say hi. he's 20. I only have so much. He's 20. I only have so much time left with him, so I try to give him food whenever he wants and pet him and do all the things whenever he gives me attention, because, you know, it's a long... He's old. And it's, anyway. Much about his or the idea of even having one. And that was even before he had died the first time. Everything just kept happening so fast that Lou always felt like he was off balance. It hadn't been until they were about to open the place that he'd started to feel like he was in some type of equilibrium. And then the tower break happened. So he didn't beat himself up about it, and took a different route of abject theoretical abstraction. Lou started to look at his lives from the third person, going through his memories, his actions, and trying to categorize them in an attempt to figure out what he truly was. When he'd died and the goddess told him he could be born again, Lou had rejected the offer outright. After Azrael explained that being tired of living and killing, he could live his dream, opening a restaurant, and he changed his mind and accepted. The truth of the matter was that he, with the promise of not having to fight and kill anymore, was the goddess had straight out lied. The moment Lou was reborn in his 15-year-old body, he'd been processed just like he had when joining the military and been forced to fight and to kill. Since that moment, he'd been fighting and killing ever since. His new life was no different than his old. Except for one thing. He had people he cared about. People he loved. The funny thing was that the ones he loved the most, weren't even human. And we finished 2 hours, 9 minutes, 2,500 words, plus minus 35 minutes for break. Maybe 40 minutes. We'll take 40 minutes away. We'll say an hour and a half. That was fast. 1,250 words in 45 minutes is pretty good. Let's knock this last little. Those thoughts were his new reason for being. The childish ideals he'd held about not killing had been tossed out when the Thieves Guild leader had almost killed him. He still wanted to run a restaurant and inn, but he was under no more illusions about what he would need to do to make that dream happen. Lou had changed. Before, he'd lived a solitary and lonely life, where the only person he needed to care for was himself. That had all changed in his second life. It only took a huge azure-colored griffin, a naive and overly kind bonobo gorilla princeling, and a surly and dour Snow White alpha direwolf, along with a pair of adorable Tanuki sorcerers to show Lou that 95,802. I think we should stop for the day because I'm tired. All right, tomorrow is, I don't think I'll be done tomorrow. I was thinking I'd get to 96 and then tomorrow I'd do 4,000, but I'm not. I'm just going to finish over the weekend. I think the book will be a little longer than 100,000 words. So, well, 95,801. We are done. Let's pull up the different things and thank everybody for watching. YouTube, thank you for watching. Kick, thank you for... I wish that would pull up like that. Thank you for... Oh, here we go. Let me go through this. That is a lot to read. In Spanish. Okay. First off. Okay. Kick. Twitch. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Tupper Hunter, thank you for following. Deuces. Kick. 2 hours. Mubik 64, thank you. Labelu 8, thank you. Zimmy Outreach, thank you. What's up? Love your stream. Your energy's awesome. I can help you grow. Hi, affiliate. Thank you for watching. Nice stream. Sent you a Discord request. Hey, I'm working with female verified streamers. Support copy the creators. Your content look at streamers for streamers. Maybe, man. I don't know. Right now, I'm just writing books. But anyway, thank you all for watching. And I will be doing this again tomorrow. Deuces Kick. Deuces Twitch. YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, no chat there. All right, everybody. Deuces. Tomorrow. Adios. Boom. Let me... Adios. Ending.